y'all, we are back. Thank you for coming back to Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. I'm your boy James, and I'm here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. And this is definitely not going to be a video where I wash my mouth, unfortunately, because I got a whole lot to call out. So we're just going to get through it, y'all. Joining me as always is my girl, Mrs. Beth, aka my girl, Mina. If you want to, you better. But if you want to, subscribe to her channel so we can also get the subscriber count. She is almost to 500 subscribers, y'all. Show my girl some love and make sure y'all get it there. All right. So Real Housewives of Atlanta, y'all. This finale was the most driest, most unorthodox, most unexplainable reunion, or not reunion, finale that I've ever seen in Real Housewives of Atlanta history. This was terrible. Like, I can't even put this into words. Bravo in that call center. Like, I can't with y'all. Like, oh man. Why? Why? We need explanations. I need a representative from headquarters to jump on the mic and say what happened.
The producer failed. And I don't care what they're saying online, like the producers don't edit, producers don't. So what do producers do? I know that James knows what producers do. So I'm asking you.
I absolutely know what they do.
I'm asking you for the people. What do producers do? Because I really don't know.
You know, it's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of, it's schemes. As what they say, a scheme that Todd came up with. It's definitely that. It's all of that and more. So let's get into this dry ass damn. I ain't gonna cover everything. I'm just gonna cover the important shit.
Did you say they left out stuff that they advertised to us from this finale?
Of course, they did it the whole season. They've advertised. First of all, Cynthia came back when Kenya did that photo shoot when she her Alabama trip. You know how she was putting together the dance routine. Cynthia came back then, and we didn't get her till episodes later. And then also, what else happened? They left out Kenya's event, which I thought was shady. She called out production on that, good for you, Kenya, because you needed to, because you're spending all that money trying to promote your businesses. You have, and what people don't understand is that this platform, as much as it is for Bravo to, have a show surrounding women in everyday lives, this is also a two-way street. They have to promote their businesses and are using this platform to do so. This is one of many ventures that they have, and this is the biggest platform they do have to do so. So I thought that was very messed up. If Kenya is giving you guys all this time, the least y'all could have done was showed her salon scene. The least y'all could have done. But
especially y'all were so like Kenya said, y'all showed every business that Candy has, from food to restaurants to sex toys to plays to movies to the stuff that she's doing on other networks and shows. Like, it's favoritism is clear. I don't dislike Candy, but if they're going to give her this much favoritism without encouraging and pushing her and forcing her to come to more events, then
it just gives me that Kenya wasn't a choice for them to cast, and they're going to edit her out anyway. They're pushing her out. I didn't like that, but we're staying away from the episode. So Sonia goes to Dr. Jackie and, thinking she's going to get this big reveal of the gender of her baby. Marlo shows up because Ross is in Texas. Y'all know Ross works in Austin. He's a coach. I don't know what type of coach he is or who he's a coach for, but he's in Texas at this time, so he couldn't be there for this baby ultrasound and everything. So Marlo comes to the rescue and just happens to be in there with bare face, barely no makeup on, some crazy, cut wig, and she shows up. And Dr. Jackie at this point of the video, I feel like Dr. Jackie wanted to tell Sonia in like the best way possible, but there is no real way to say, hey, don't be telling your baby everything about this pregnancy because you told everybody too early.
It's common sense. Trimester. It's common sense.
Well, in Richard Ross household, common sense ain't that common. As we read the sister, the husband, the mama, the daddy, the brother, and everybody else up in there.
Well,
So, I'm just saying that ain't come, but she basically let Sonya know, hey, let's try to stay away from telling him every detail of this pregnancy until you're in the safe zone. Because later in the episode, we find out that Sonya, in fact, did miscarry this pregnancy. And we're gonna get to that scene because I don't want to go too far into it yet because that scene did choke me up a little bit when she was talking about how her baby was praying for her and everything. That just broke my heart. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, it was very Sonya. I think she lets her excitement take over the common ground of her, common sense, and that's where you need to kind of look at that and do something different, Sonya, because that was not it. What did you feel about Sonya's visit with Dr. Jackie and Dr. Jackie's word about her revealing all these details to her son about the pregnancy?
How can I say this nicely? Listen, I've had a miscarriage years ago, and now I kind of regret it because I ain't been pregnant since. And I'm like, husband, will this happen? So I do understand the pain that comes with the miscarriage, like during, after all of that. This is why you don't come out with a pregnancy. 9 times out of 10, most people don't tell you till they're at least 12 weeks, which I believe is about 90 days. So, and there's a reason for that. Pregnancies in general, medically, are actually rare. Babies really are miracles, but to tell people so soon, I didn't like it. It felt like she did all of this on camera intentionally to make herself relevant because the audience did not like her on her seasons, from her first season to this one. No one liked Sonya, really. Very small amount of people did. So I feel like she did this to kind of like lean into the story and the family more. But I just don't like that it was put on TV so soon. I didn't like her including Deuce in it, and I feel like she knew that was risky, and that's part of the reason why she did it. I just thought the whole thing was irresponsible for your kid, for you. Like, how do you explain to a 3-year-old a miscarriage? I can't imagine. Like one where he couldn't see the baby. Like, you already have him in the doctor's office looking at sonograms and shit. And Dr. Jackie has birthed a lot of people who have kids. She has a lot of returning clients and patients. So
it just makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder if Dr. Jackie's going to have a no children policy in this office kind of situation.
I don't think she will. I feel like Dr. Jackie was looking at Sonya, and I feel like she was kind of trying to say, like listen, I'm on a TV show too, but this is too much.
But that puts her responsible for the trauma that little boy could have in this pregnancy. Luckily, Sonya was able to get pregnant again because we now know that she is now pregnant. So I don't know. That could have just turned out really wrong. I'm glad that God worked in her favor and gave her another chance, but that could have been like your only chance on you because you are high risk being older.
Maybe God was trying to tell you, because it looked like the second time we didn't find out until you had that belly. So maybe God made it look like she learned her lesson. Don't put everything on TV. Don't put, especially your kids, having them in scenes. It just felt really disingenuous. Now, I know the little boy probably got truly attached, but her decision to have him there seemed disingenuous. This is why I don't like Sonya, because a lot of the stuff that she does just seems like a move. Like the reveal of her being pregnant to her friends was better than when she told her husband. He just opened a notebook and her friends got a whole cool picture and all of that. So she's obviously using and hoping. I don't think she's using having a family or adding to her family as like just for views or anything. But I do think that since her husband wants more of a family, and since she's on television, she's going to do everything she can to try and document that process, because it is good TV and people do get attached to these reality stars when we watch them have babies and start their families. But girl.
Yeah, it was too much for me. I was like, okay.
I don't
So
fully
we'll
like
get to Sonya back in the
stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll say this for the end because they dive deeper into it. So, in true Bravo fashion form, the next scene is our favorite couple that brings the whole season together, Drew and Ralph. Because, like I said last video, it's Sonya, then Drew and Ralph. Sheree, then Drew and Ralph. Candy, then Drew and Ralph. It's literally that. This episode again. So Drew and Ralph. So Drew finally wraps up, the movie, and she got home really late. Ralph has moved out of the bedroom and into a guest room. And at this point, we're looking at them kind of having a disconnect here in this scene because he comes into the room. She's like, "Hey, where have you been?" And he's all like, "Well, I just moved to another room." She goes, "Well, are you going to move back into the room? Because I'm done with the movie now."
Kids' room.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't want to say that,
me off.
I didn't.
That pissed me off. No, that man is sleeping in kids' room.
Oh. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't want to say that.
Hold on. I have echo.
I hear that. What's going on? StreamYard, why y'all doing this now? Really?
No, that was my phone. Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. I have notifications on for my friend, and I have YouTube Premium. So I guess.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah,
why are we playing in the background?
If you have YouTube Premium, you know that you can close your phone and lock it and still hear your video. So I guess when locking, I like the video for you. You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
I guess my elbow hit the thing and it was still playing. I was like, I hear myself twice. I thought I was having a psychotic break. I was spending 5150 myself, y'all. But I'm good. I apologize. That's embarrassing. Sorry. I have the call center supervisor.
My husband plays too much, y'all. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Anyways, like I was saying.
Supervisor.
Yes. Anyways, like I was saying. So we now go to Drew and Ralph, and yes, he is sleeping in the bunk bed. Why is your big ass in the bunk bed sitting on the couch? Like, what the hell?
They have more bedrooms.
That big ass house. You mean tell me you gonna sleep in the little baby's room, really?
And then not let the kids in.
But it makes me wonder. We'll go to another scene with Drew and Ralph because it makes me wonder if that really is the baby's room or if that's like a guest kid's room. You know how you have your little cousins come over? Well, I don't know. I've never been this rich, so I don't know. But I guess I've never been this rich, so I don't know. But it seems like it was like a bedroom for like the little baby cousins or whatever. So I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, it comes to the topic of Courtney calling Drew a bitch, which we still don't know if that was meant for Drew or if it was meant for Sonya. Because she pointed at Sonya, it said this bitch, but we don't know if she was really talking about Drew. So Ralph sees the video and he was all like, "So what do you want me to do with that?" And Drew was like, "Oh. And it was like, see, this is why I don't like Ralph. This is the exact thing. He goes, Marlo called you a bitch, Kenya called you a bitch, Candy called you a bitch, and now you have a problem with it. And it was like, that just flew over your head, right? You don't see the point in all this.
It's your cousin-in-law.
It's your cousin-in-law that you're claiming as your cousin, saying a derogatory term against your wife. There's no way in hell. So Drew storms off and goes downstairs. Allison is washing dishes, heading in the kitchen. And she didn't say anything to Allison at first.
No.
And Ralph comes up and was like, are you serious? And she goes, just leave me alone. Drew getting her dramatics and shit. And finally, Allison was like, well, what's going on? And then that's why he goes, this whole Courtney thing calling her a bitch. And Allison was like, yeah, I asked her, did she call my sister a bitch? And she said no. And he says, well, didn't you call her a bitch, Allison? And I said, wait, hold the fuck up. Allison better than me. Allison is better than me. Let me explain something to y'all viewers watching this. There's a difference between my sibling. If we into it, me and my siblings have probably fought our entire lives. So if they call me a bitch or something derogatory, I might be a little bit more numb to that because we probably have fought our entire lives. And that's what siblings do. That is not the fucking point, Ralph. The point of this is your play cousin want to be with you, whoever she is to you, says something derogatory to the woman you have exchanged vow with, have legal paperwork, can make the decision on whether she lives or dies in a hospital. We're talking about your wife. Do you not care? And like Allison said, if she called her a banana.
I love this. She said, how about that?
Yeah, how about that?
And she reminded them because I was minding my business. I said, yes, Allison.
Allison was the MVP of this scene. I said, you better say it, Allison. You better work that shit out. Because I said, yes, that's exactly what we're saying. Allison is woke. You know,
Ralph, I know you related to Courtney in some way because you and this heifer got the same type of sense. Because you go say, well, Allison, you've called Drew a bitch. And Courtney, I've been a better friend to Ralph than his wife. The whole family's just thought process is warped. So but Drew's crying was a little much. But Allison, I was like, that's my nigga. I love Allison.
I'm starting to like Allison. I'm starting to like Allison more and more. I am starting to like Allison a lot more. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say, but Allison, I know that's your sister, but you was protecting her like a mama.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say too much.
That's
but in this whole episode,
Empire alleged it too. He said the same thing.
I'm just saying, I haven't watched that video. Shout out to Empire. You know I love you. I'm sorry. It's coming like I'm gonna call her Drew Mama sister. Drew Mama sister.
Watch your mouth.
Right.
I cannot. She did have that, especially looking over the shoulder of Ralph, where he, even after, I didn't want it. Y'all brought me. That was that mama stare when they look over their shoulder.
Yes, exactly. Like Drew
Mama sister. My child this way.
Okay. And then she read upstairs after. The way she did all that, I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. There has to be more to this. I'm sorry. I don't buy it no more. I never did, but I'm sorry.
I'm going to just let it be. And I'm hoping, like this whole reboot thing, I'm hoping they at least bring back Drew.
No, I don't want them to bring back Drew. And we're going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to ask you a question. I have a question for you at the end. We'll save this for the end. Moving on. Sheree and her daughter, the former assistant, season 1, but the oldest daughter, Tier. I'm not, because this scene was some bullshit, just like anything else that Sheree does. So they in the car driving to Sheree's 2012 Porsche that she kept from season 3, and they bring up Candace. And she asked Tiara, she goes, Tiara, did you know Candace before the party? And Tiara said, yeah, Candace was at Bob Mama's house, and he introduced her as his daughter. But Mama, I thought you knew about this. And it was that right there. And Sheree said, no, I didn't know about this. I didn't know he had a daughter. And I said, Sheree,
there's no way in hell that you make a person with another person and don't know that they have a kid. And I don't see why she's hiding it anyway.
It's not even that. How the fuck does your daughter, who is not by Bob, knows about the daughter he has and you don't? So you mean to tell me not one of your 3 children who knew about this baby did not tell you?
Sheree also says that Bob ain't shit. He won't be shit.
We know this already.
No. With dating, but he not shit so much that he's keeping in contact with the daughter that doesn't belong to him biologically. She was at his mom's house. So Tiara is obviously a part of the family. So
that's what I'm saying. And
yeah, he may be bad to Sheree, but it sounds like he's okay to his kids now. I'm not talking about him as a dad as a whole, because I don't know, but I'm tired of Sheree.
I am too, because to me, it seems like Sheree's full of shit. I believe Sheree knew about this girl. Yeah. I believe that she tried to distract Bob. And this is alleged. I'm not saying this is true. This is alleged. But it seems like to me, Sheree gives me wicked stepmother from Cinderella. She really does. I'm sorry. She does.
Why
like,
did my husband say that? This is random. When Sheree walked in at the end of the episode, he was like, "Baby girl, that's a synthetic wig. You guys aren't supposed to wear those."
We gonna get to that in a minute because
I just thought of it randomly. I said, "Damn."
But she gives me the Cinderella stuff. Not the movie with Hilary Duff, Jennifer Coolidge. The Jennifer Coolidge playing the stepmama. That's Sheree. That's Sheree right there.
Down Sheree to the gives injections.
Me that. Yep, absolutely. All the bow ties and that movie. I love that movie, by the way. Shout out to Hilary Duff and Jennifer Coolidge. I love y'all. But anyways, moving on. So they're driving, and she just kept pleading that she didn't know about this daughter, and she said in her confessional, she said, "I don't expect my children to tell me that Bob had a daughter. Bob was supposed to tell me." And it was like, Sheree, I don't care how much you deflect from this. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can say to me at this point that would convince me that you did not know about this child. There's nothing you can say because it's stupid. 3 of your children know, and they grown children at that. You mean to tell me not one of them? I'm going to say this again. Not one of them told you. I don't believe that. Sorry. Moving on because I ain't got time. Drew and Ralph go to counseling. And this was the most horrible, most gaslighting shit I have ever seen in my life.
I have so many opinions on the counseling.
I want you to tell them all. Because what I saw was a man trying to cover every single one of his tracks, but still left a footprint. So, with that being said, Mrs. Best, I want to hear your opinions about what you witnessed before I give mine. No, because trust me, we don't need to describe the scenes. The people watching know about this. What y'all want me to say? Every situation that Ralph brought up, he deflected from. I'll give you one. When the oldest son asked, "Hey, why is Dad sleeping in the guest room?" And he said, "Drew made that shit up." Drew put out her phone. She said, No. I didn't make up shit. Here are the text messages. You see it right here. And thank you, Bravo, in that call center for blowing up her phone so we can see it as well.
Thank you.
It clearly said, no, everything is fine. I'm getting home way too late. Daddy needs to sleep because he has to work as well.
And the boy said, but he won't let us sleep in there. That's why I think it's their room. Because the kids.
So you're saying that you think that
it was in the text. The kid, JoJo texted that. So I'm like.
So you think he put the kids in JoJo's room?
Yes.
It took the little baby.
He was like, because Nine and whatever are with me and there's not or whatever. And then she responded a little bit to that too. You guys could sleep with me. She gave them options and let them know everything would be okay. I think he's in that child's room. And if you are literally you have all the money in the world and probably a basement. So I just feel like pulling Nene and Greg Leaks when they split and he went to the basement. Your house. Why have a house that big and not utilize it? Why put your kids in discomfort?
Why put your kids out their room? Why you just didn't sleep on the fucking couch?
Right. I'm not moving my kids.
Why are you moving your kids to go sleep with the other brother? Why the kids can't sleep with you? You the daddy.
They're his
Those
kids.
Are your kids. Those are your kids. Like, I'm trying to figure out that shit took me up for a little. I'm like, wait, there has never been a time with my dad. My dad would sleep in the room. Like, my dad literally would sleep in the room with us, like, when we were kids. Like, he really would. Like, if he, like, really, because my parents divorced when I was a kid, and I remember sleeping over at my dad's. My dad literally would sleep in the room with us. He really would. Like,
mine too.
Because he missed us.
Mine too.
Like, he really did miss us.
My dad would literally play with us, and he would get a different blanket or whatever.
Everything, yeah. My dad.
But he would be
my dad would come in the middle of the night and come in, like, because I could remember this vividly. My dad coming in the room with me and my brother and literally sleeping in the room with us because my dad literally, because I knew he missed us. Because there had been some time that he didn't see us. So, yeah, I remember that vividly. So I can't imagine you kicking your baby children out their room to go sleep with their brother while you sleep in their room. That is crazy. So Ralph is crazy. Like Ralph
Listen,
is crazy. And if I was Drew, the way Drew was side eyeing him on this, like I know that had to go through Drew's head as well.
because that
Like I
shows
know.
character. Like that's
Yes.
it for me watching that counseling session. Just I was gonna comment on the side of the counselor, but on watching it, like just watching Ralph, like this why I be irritated because not all people with kids, but it's people like him, and obviously if there's a female version of that, who make the people who really are out here raising their kids to the best of their ability look bad, because you cannot use your children as a way to gain empathy from anyone. You should not use your kids as a way to gain empathy or anything from anyone. You should just be loving them and trying to teach them how to be the best people that they can be. Ralph immediately lied on his kids. So I'm just like, the counseling session was a disaster. And I'm trained now. I have graduation day, hallelujah, in there in counseling. So I'm like, I'm looking at Dr. Kidd and I'm like, oh, I see what he did. And it's a technique when you in counseling for marital, like spousal or friends, family. If one person is not willing to be accountable on something that is triggering or has caused some form of trauma for the party that they're trying to reconcile with, there's nothing you can do other than give them the options of what they're going to have to do. So do you guys want to stay married or do you not? That's why Dr. Kim, when Ralph said that, was like, okay, so the next thing is figuring out what y'all want to do, because there's nothing else. He did a good job as a
He
therapist.
did. And one of the things I noticed is that he tried to bring up a point about Drew's best friend and her husband sleeping in the same bedrooms, and then Drew bringing out, oh, but they're filing for a divorce. So it was like, oh, so are you trying to prelude that their situation is how you'll end up?
And the
Like it
doctor
was so
caught
much
that.
going.
He caught
Mm-hmm.
that. I was like,
He
Dr.
caught that right
Kidd,
away. Dr. Kidd,
yes, Black
yes, Dr.
therapist, mental health expert, psychologist. I said, you better do the damn thing, because
You
Dr.
know what?
Sherry failed us. Not over
Please don't
Dr.
bring up.
Sherry.
Please
I'm
don't
like,
bring up Dr. Sherry's name
I
on this
have
channel.
to.
Please don't bring up. I please do not bring up Dr. Sherry. You know I cannot stand that lady. I cannot stand that lady. Oh my God.
It's like poking him through the computer.
Yes, it's like, why would you bring up Dr. Sherry's name?
Well, because she
Oh,
was
her,
an awful example, in my opinion, of mental health care in general. But there's not that many people who are African American practicing mental health. There's less than the
and
latter.
what they don't understand is that, like, they should make, honestly, they should make y'all reapply for your license every 6 months. I'm not even
Well,
kidding.
they have to do like educational training, like you have to go to trainings and stuff
You
in
know how,
California, at least, to have
yeah,
a license.
well, yeah, because an OBGYN has to get their license renewed every year. So,
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Shit.
yeah, they do. They have to go through specific classes and do, because laws change in HIPAA every year.
Mm-hmm.
Laws change in HIPAA every day. So, because there's always something new that happens where they're like, oh my God, we got to protect this doctor. So let's do that.
It's
So
the
no,
same thing with mental health care, because my mom is a licensed therapist, and she's got a bunch of shit degrees, but she has to go every year to Sacramento out here, which is the state capital of California. And then she has to do and it's like a 3-day course. And then they also have to do some of it at home, because psych is the brain. You can't just be fucking people up. Listen.
which is why I'm creating a biology therapy, because we need to get testing. We need to figure out our chromosomes and stuff. I think psychology has done us a deed of disservice in a lot of ways. So the biologist in me is going to go back to school and get that degree and make sure we understand your DNA ancestry, where you come from, what you do. Because honestly, psychology is failing us day by day.
It's not that psychology is failing. It's just not the right people in it. And then also psychology does acknowledge biology heavily. There's a whole biological
They do.
But the problem is science for medicine and science for mental health both need to find a way to come together and
They
work.
do. But the problem is that in order for it, the problem is, in order for it to do so, we have to figure out people's genetic makeup. And the only way we can do that is by doing testing. But we're talking about the wrong stuff. We're talking about the wrong stuff, y'all. But either way, that therapy session was terrible. I felt like That was
Dr. Ken
pointless.
should not be her personal therapist either, in addition to her marital
I
therapist.
agree with that as
That's
well.
just an
They should
opinion.
keep it separate. I think that he started. I think what happened, if I'm not mistaken, is Ralph disengaged from the process, and she still wanted to go forward. So I think he extended the treatment because it's actually against policy for a psychologist if your patient is telling you, "Hey, I need more," and you disengage your service. If you don't refer her to somebody else, you have to continue because that could lead into a destruction. So you have to be careful with that. So I think that that's why he did that because Ralph decided to disengage. I still need it. So here it is. So yeah.
He should have
Yeah.
sent a
It's
referral. But
right. Because look, that's a whole lot.
I believe that's an ethics and standard code in the little APA.
It is an ethics code, but the problem is that because this is TV and this is a reality show and it's being filmed, he can get away with it because
He can
get away with it. That's because it's on the reality show. If it was private, yeah, absolutely, he actually
He'd be in trouble. But I do know
he'd be in
that
trouble.
The therapists and doctors that be on reality shows do sign documents that protect
exactly
them for doing things that they should not be doing.
That's why I said that's the only thing. Yeah, he could bring up that contract. I know he signed one. So yeah,
I think with Drew and Ralph, though, I'm just over it. I think they should have been divorced years ago. It's supposed to be a scandal, but I'm not impressed by it because it's like the same shit, except now there's paperwork. So that's all I'll say.
Right. Moving on. Candy's event for the release of the pass. I did see the pass, and I saw it twice. I thought it was a clever plot. It's just it needs a little bit of work. That's all I was saying.
You're the only feedback I've seen on that movie. I haven't seen anybody like say anything really about it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places.
You're probably not looking in the right place. There's feedback everywhere, but my problem is I like the idea of it because it wasn't a cliche. It wasn't something that you would have saw in this common storyline. It was actually well written differently. But what I did not like about it was the feed into this, the stereotypes that Todd has went through. And I thought that this was a foreshadow of Drew's life. I really did. I was like, wow, y'all really putting this stuff in the atmosphere only for this to happen to this lady. And I would feel horrible if it did. Just saying. But moving on, the event's nice. Drew performs her single Already Know. Everybody shows up.
She did not perform. A reference track played, and she did light choreography. You may continue. I apologize.
So that was from Mrs. Best, y'all. That's what she felt of the performance. I felt it was a performance. She felt it was her singing to a diss track and doing karaoke. We got it. Okay, we got you. So everyone shows up. They're about to. This would have been the end of the episode. It was supposed to be, but that's not how this happened. So I'm gonna read where everybody is now that we have done filming. So starting it off, let me see. I took a screenshot of everybody's because overall, that was too much to remember right now because some of it was stupid. So we started off with Candy. We know that Candy did not win the Tony Award that she was nominated for, but she still wants to be an EGOT. She and Todd are producing the revival of The Wiz, so hopefully she gets her Tony Award from that. And the pass is completed, and it is definitely out streaming on Peacock. I am not promoting this on my channel because I did not get a check for that. But go see the movie for yourself, y'all. Sheree. So, despite the rumors, Martell and Sheree are totally committed to staying that they're just friends. We know that he goes between her and the baby mama, so that's not a surprise. That's Martell.
Rumors. I thought they were dating. I thought she's been saying this is her man all season. What? Who the now I'm calling on the call center. Bring the supervisor back because I could have sworn. I thought I read that wrong, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I read it wrong. So
I'll read it again. Despite the rumors, Martell and Sheree are totally committed to saying they're just friends.
Who wrote that? Did Sheree
They
write
are
that?
they are just no. I'm sure she told them that. Let me tell you something. This was a story line. I believe Martell sought out for Sheree. I do. I don't believe she sought out for him. And Sheree said, "Oh yeah, this will definitely work and keep me on the show for a couple of seasons. Absolutely, because that's Sheree." And I just feel like, bravo. What more do you need to understand that Sheree is not for TV? What more do y'all need? I'm so sick of Sheree. I'm just like, why do y'all keep trying to make her happen? It is so stupid. She was able to heal her fibroids, which I'm happy for that. Go Sheree. That was very well. I'm happy that happened for you. So next is Marlo. So although Marlo hasn't expunged Scott Lee from her life, so they are still dating, she has continued to work on expunging her criminal record and meeting with her life coach. The only doors she's breaking down these days are systematic biases against foster children. Good luck with that because there's been
First
many
of
people
all,
trying to break that barrier, and it's
systematic biases for foster children. Listen, shut up, Marlo. That's all I have for that. Like, shut up, Marlo, please.
right, exactly.
Go donate something. Shit.
Okay, and so moving on. Kenya. Kenya's continued to grow her family of hair products. The Kenya Moore Spa recently celebrated its soft opening. The world's longest divorce just got a little longer. Mark recently moved to have Kenya held in contempt of court.
For what?
That's all it says. We don't know. I don't keep up with Kenya. So, does anybody know what's going on with Kenya and this divorce from Mark? That seems like it's never going to end. She might as well just take him back at this point because I feel like y'all are never going to get divorced. So, what the hell is the problem? So, what is he holding you in contempt of for, Kenya? Please tell us because I would love to know. Is it for Brooklyn? Is he on the reality show that you won't say the name of that he's going to be appearing on? I don't know. I just don't know. So we were supposed to end this, right? But we continue because it was revealed that Sonia lost the baby in March. She is now pregnant again. That scene was so sad. I'm not even gonna go because it's gonna make me cry because I just can't imagine telling the baby, "Oh, you had to be a little brother," 2 weeks into the pregnancy, and then or big brother 2 weeks into the pregnancy, and then you lose the baby, and then you have to explain that you lost the baby, knowing that baby's not gonna understand how that even happens. I felt like that was really irresponsible, signing it just like we said in the beginning of this video. That was really irresponsible of her to do. And I'm glad she's pregnant now, but signing it sometimes that doesn't work like that. So you got lucky. God truly did bless you. Moving on. So, as Drew is preparing for this interview, the news has broken that she has filed for divorce. A couple days later, she's doing her confessional for the show. Sheree happens to be there as well. Sheree goes and checks on her to make sure she's okay, and I'm glad this wasn't a shady, bitter moment between these two. Sheree looked genuinely concerned for Drew, and Sheree reveals that her father has passed away after Drew revealed her father is no longer communicating, fighting Alzheimer's, which was so sad. Sheree seemed very unemotional, divulging that her father passed. And I'm like, oh, Sheree, baby, you need definitely some counseling. Because the fact that you're emotionally unavailable even for your father's passing, that was kind of like, oh, man. Couldn't imagine. But moving on from there, Ralph and Drew both are doing confessionals at the same time. They might not have filmed at the same time, but it was crazy. They both couldn't divulge anything because their lawyers said not to say anything. Meanwhile, on this exact same day, which how convenient, Mimi Foss, with her messy ass, put out there that Ty and Drew are dating or that they've had an affair, allegedly, because Drew has not confirmed this. Neither has Ty. So this is allegedly on my channel. Allegedly. So that was a lot. That was a mouthful. Do you believe the rumors, Mrs. Best?
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I do. And it's I when the X comes out And Ty Young has been spotted dating other people outside of Mimi, like while they're on a break or broken up, because they always together, broken up together. And Mimi's never spoken out before. Mimi can be messy, but against other women, she's not really messy unless they've done something to her first. For those who remember watching her from earlier seasons. So if Mimi spoke out, which I was like, Ty Young, but Ty and Mimi just got back together earlier this year. So I don't think that the rumors are a lie, because when an angry ex comes out that you were literally just with, I just don't see.
It's messy because, let me explain. It's messy because at the same time, you don't know this to be true unless you were putting out the evidence. She didn't put out any evidence. She just alleged this.
I still think it's true, just because
I still think it's true as well.
Why
I'm not saying it's, yeah.
something on someone that you break up, you get back with, who's around your kids, if you don't. I feel like Mimi
what I needed from Mimi is I needed some pictures. I needed some evidence. I needed some text messages. I needed something. I needed some face in the place. I needed something.
But she's not on TV anymore, so I feel like if she was still on a show, then yeah, give me receipts. But if
we still know who she is, we still know exactly.
We know who she is, but like
if she would have just did a live or something, exposing.
She should have done a live and spoke about it.
Then I would have been more inclined to believe.
I don't think receipts are necessary unless you're like on, like in the television realm, like actively.
But they appeared on the show. I don't agree with that because they appeared on the show. Ty appeared on the show.
The way that she smiles, the way that Drew smiles around Ty when Ty has been brought up, the look of guilt in her eyes when that comes up, the random demise of this marriage that's already been a hot mess. Like, I've been thinking the whole time there has to be something else that finally drove these two to actually do the paperwork, because Ralph ain't changed. It don't look like he the same person.
Right. And it's like so definitely happened. Yeah. I can't wait to see the reunion because maybe they'll expose it there. I don't know. Won't. Hopefully.
Drew is the daughter of a pastor. So, and we have to do that when we say that she's the daughter of a pastor. So I get where you're coming from, like talking this out. I actually get where you're coming from with not wanting Drew back. And just talking it out changes my opinions on it. Because it's like, you know what? Drew's like a Sheree in training. She starts out.
It's not so much she's a Sheree in training. I think Drew's above this. I think Drew is above this show. I really do. I think Drew is above, like, I want her to focus on her acting and singing. I don't want her on the show anymore. Because I feel like
she came on the show thinking it would revive her acting and singing. But now you have a movie that was meant to be on Tubi. So...
yeah. So now we're gonna move to the final scene of this show, which was Courtney and her sitting like this. and her neck. Yeah.
I heard that Drew was bisexual, and I just didn't pay attention to it at first. But you know how Drew is and everything, and I just didn't want to believe it at first. Oh, I got pictures in my phone of him, so I don't know why she would think. Oh, and the producer's like, so where was Drew going to meet Ty? Texas. Oh, and at her games, and it was just like, really, Courtney, really. And then she goes and says, and and that's why she was pushing for that adoption, because she wanted Ralph to pay all the bills while she was in her gay relationship. And it was like the audacity of you, man. The audacity of you.
Keep these kids' names and keep the kids in general out of your fucking mouth, especially if it's not your child. Like, I don't like when people bring kids into it. I know some people, because the LGBTQ community, any opportunity, no shade, anytime anybody says or does anything slightly offensive, they come out, they speak. But let's not lose sight of the bigger thing here. I don't like when people bring up children. Children are innocent. Why is she
not in that way? Not anyway. Yes. Why would you bring that?
Why?
Yeah, that was crazy to me. That was wild.
What does that have to do with you? The adoption of this boy, and then to allege the biggest problem I had with everything she said, so she can go be in her gay lover relationship while Ralph pays the listen, I can't even get it out.
Wow, Ralph pays the bill.
We've never even seen Ralph.
We don't know what Ralph does for a living.
And when we did hear that he
what is Ralph's job exactly, Courtney? What does Ralph do for a living? Can you answer that?
He's a Chippendale with fake waves. And so I can't sit here and take him seriously when this man sprays on his haircut every morning. I can't take this man serious because it looked like, and it appears to be, you living off this woman who we see works. We don't see you work. Where is the book, Ralph? It never came out. It never came out?
What's the name of it? Let's look it up. Let's be messy.
Oh, what's the name of the book? I thought it came out. I wouldn't know the name of his property, but yeah, I did Courtney's. Oh. I was like, okay, girl, this is not a hot mic moment. You know that you're being filmed because you're answering questions from production and you know that camera is right the fuck in front of you. Stop. You know this. You know this. No way you did a whole season and you don't understand how a mic works. It's like, what is her name? That girl.
It did come out. It did come out. It's available on Amazon.
I don't know who's going to read that, considering I can't take advice from the dad that kicks his kids out the room so he can have the bunk bed. I just can't.
Right. I can't take that either. I can't take seriously a man who talked about wanting to adopt his stepson and then never did. And then we looked at Marla like she was crazy because let me share my screen. Hold on. I did it wrong. Totally did that wrong. Can we see it? There we go. Okay. This is Ralph Pittman's book, and it's $24.99. Ralph, you have lost your fucking mind. So, is there a synopsis?
You should read the bio. Ralph Pittman Jr. is a husband, father, actor, speaker, businessman, and entrepreneur. That's how you know he don't got a job, because a businessman and an entrepreneur are kind of one and the same.
Yes. It doesn't say what kind of business. A native of New Brunswick, New Jersey, Pittman attended Rutgers University, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree of business economics, while also studying music theory. Oh, okay. In 2014, Ralph married film and television actress Drew Sidora and began his new life as a husband and bonus dad. After several years of navigating the peaks and valleys of co-parenting, Pittman realized there is a large community of parents that experience similar challenges. Read more. With various parenting dynamics and no blueprint to ensure success, it let Pittman leverage his experience to create the step in parenting in hopes of bridging the gap between blended families with sound advice and guidance. Today, Pittman resides in, I don't give a fuck about that. So, yeah.
Next, he's going to have a reflections too. Navigating the divorce from
a $24.99. First of all, let me explain something to you. My book is only $13.99. My book's like $13.99 on Amazon. I don't know what the fuck he did to get a $24.99 book that don't look like it's that many pages at all. But hey,
James, damn,
it's 344 pages.
Oh, I could read that in a day, but I read fast, so I don't know. But 300 is not a lot of pages, y'all.
It's not.
It's not.
My book is only 270. My book is only 274. My first one is 271. Second book, no, Fraternity was 274.
I read your first book in like 2 days, so it wasn't long. Like, it was a decent sized book, but the price for it was definitely reasonable. So thank you.
I said that I wanted my book to be. I paid to make sure my book. I paid to make sure my book was a reasonable price, because it's not fair to people to charge some outlandish thing for something they're only going to read probably once. So with that being said, y'all, that was pretty much it. I ain't got nothing else for this show anymore. that was a crazy ass season. The reunion is this Sunday, I believe. Y'all, I'm not ready.
Is it 2
because
or
I feel
3
like
parts?
it's only a 2-parter. We have a 2-part reunion, and that's it. I'm not even gonna go into that. I'm not even.
Did we get a clip of the reunion when the episode ended?
We did.
Okay, then
We sure did.
Fuck you, Comcast, because
Yeah.
my DVR sure did not record that. I was like, is there a clip? Are they editing? Like, I gotta go
They
watch
probably gonna
it.
edit some shit out now that this shit has gotten out of control. And I'm like, no, keep everything the way it was. I want to see it all. But that's it, you guys. Head on over to Mrs. Best's channel so we can do love and hip hop. I have nothing more further to say. I think we read everybody for filth, and I am definitely ready to get off my channel and go to her channel so we can read some more people. But that's it, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. We will be back here next week to talk about the reunion and the premiere of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I am way too excited for this. And at first, I wasn't going to watch, but now that I know my girl Mary Cosby is back, I am watching it. So I will see you guys into the next review. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.